So I have here Fomitopsis Betulina.
Yeah.
Or Birch Polypore. It's a mushroom that grows on paper birch. Kind of grows out of it in that orientation. So why gather this mushroom? It reportedly has powerful anti-inflammatory properties, which I find very useful for my arthritis. Like very, very useful. I'm not recommending you try it, but that's the reports anyway. This one here is a turkey tail mushroom, which is really, really good for the immune system. So today I'm going to be cutting up the Fomitopsis to make a tincture, which I have one already made here a little bit, with grain alcohol, and then I'm going to make a tea out of some of this as well. So this mushroom has some very interesting characteristics, and when I start cutting them up, I'll show you. Yeah, you can make a knife strop out of this as well, which I think I'm going to do with this one. It's kind of past it. Yeah. Kind of cool. So this type of mushroom, it's called a polypore, which means poly, many, pore, hole, many holes on the abaxial surface, the mating surface. It has holes instead of gills. You can't really see. Maybe you can see a little bit. You know what gills look like on a mushroom. It's a really dry russula. How about this one? Yeah, maybe a little bit you can see. It doesn't have the gills to broadcast the spores. It has little tiny cylinders. Alright, so there's two types of fungus. There's what's called a saprophytic fungus, which is the great decomposers are saprophytes, saprophytic fungus. They break down matter, organic matter. There's a parasitizing. This is interesting. Now, if you pay attention and stay with me for a few minutes, I know some stuff about mushrooms, and you wonder why I'm so intrigued by the mushrooms, right? There's a reason, and I'll get to that, but you got to listen through this explanation for a minute. Quite hard. I get my saw out. I cut them fresh last time. These are completely dry. Ooh. Yeah, that's not good. Just stand and do this. So the saprophytic fungus digest, and then there's another kind of fungus which is termed a mycorrhizal. So myco means mushroom or fungus, and rhizal implies roots. So fungus root. So the idea is that the fungus develops a relationship, codependent or mutually beneficial, symbiotic is another term for it, with a plant. And most plants have this relationship with fungus, which is mind-blowing. I think they did a study in the Pacific Northwest and found that 84 or 87% of all the plants in the forest, and they, you know, obviously they didn't sample them all, but the interaction of the fungus with the tree is where, or you know, plant roots is where it gets interesting. So yeah, this isn't going to work with these. I'm going to have to get some. I have some that I just gathered. Yeah, they're all pretty dry. No big deal. Like these, you know, these I can cut up this way. I don't need to. Yeah, no problem. I'm cutting them that way. I want to get a flat piece to try to make a strop out of. So the mycorrhizal fungus. You got to understand something about it, about fungus before I can go on. So this is the fruiting body of an organism that is not seen, essentially. fungus is made up of mycelium. Mycelium are made up of hyphae. Hyphae are like one cell wall thick finger that interacts with, potentially malevolent bacterium, other fungus, things that want to kill it. And it also encounters food sources. So all these fingers spread out in a web network, and on the ends of all these fingers are little tiny science labs that can sample all different stuff, right? And then it gets, so if it's friend or food or foe, right, it has to make that determination. If it's food, it somehow requests the enzymes or whatever it needs to break the food down from the rest of the organism. That's the thing. It has no neurology, as like as we would describe neurology. How does it get the message from one side of its organism all the way across to the other side? And this is where it gets interesting. It has that same relationship with plants. The plant is able to produce, through photosynthesis, carbohydrates. The mushroom is not. The mycorrhizal mushroom, it's not saprophytic. It doesn't digest things around that are dead. It actively communicates with trees to gain that carbohydrate, which the mushroom cannot make. So what does the tree get back from giving, a tremendous amount of the resources that the tree has? They actually give to the mycelial network. 4 to 20%, as a matter of fact, 4 to 20% of the end result of photosynthesis they offer to the mycelial mat. So a very important relationship to give that much of the resources to. Oh, that works well with the serrated knife. Heck yeah. Beautiful. It's like styrofoam. And it's like a sponge, actually. I'll show you that once I get through this. So the tree will request certain nutrients that it is lacking and can't access through its biological processes. Has to rely on saprophytic fungus. Well, the mycorrhizal fungus provides that nutrient. It has the ability to digest it. Those little science factories on the end of the hyphae interact with the soils and digest things that the tree needs. So it offers them to the tree. But here's the thing, here's the rub. This is the interesting part about it. It's in the fungus's best interest to make sure the forest is as healthy as possible. So this network extends all over under the soil in the forest. So if a tree way across the forest is in poor health, it's in the organism's, the fungus's best interest to keep that tree alive, as to gain the carbohydrate resources that it provides. So it'll draw nutrients from all the way across the forest to get it to that tree. The tree asks for it. The tree asks for the nutrients. I mean, that's mind-blowing. They don't have neurology, right? Not neurology that we would define as neurology. The communication. It's fascinating stuff. So the hyphae and the root system, like the hyphae is much smaller than the tip of a root, generally speaking, I think. So the hyphae will attach to the root in two different ways. One is less intrusive, one is more intrusive. So there's ectomycorrhizal, which means that the hyphae just penetrate the edge of the, like they just go into the edge of the bark on the root, and that's where they do the transfer. And then there's arbuscular, and the arbuscular, it's the hyphae or the fungus actually entering the plant, so that the hyphae actually enters the plant, not in a bad way like this one, because this is parasitizing. It enters the plant to help it out. And, you know, who knows, speed that communication. Oh, there was a point to me telling you all that. It escapes me at the moment. Yeah, that'll be good. Make a few strops from my my small chisels. I'm thinking the saw might be the way. So if you listen to everything that I just said, you might agree that the unlikelihood of that relationship between the plants and the fungus developing in some random way is, you know, an impossibility, right? And then the other part of it becomes, well, how does these compounds that are produced by this fungus that's in a completely different kingdom from us, how does it interact so well with our neurology, or so uniquely, let's say, uniquely? That's intriguing, like very intriguing. It's because we're related to it, right? You think about what mushrooms have done for mankind. Penicillin. Where would we be without penicillin? Just something simple like that. This one won't be done for at least a couple of weeks. The tea smells pretty mushroomy. This one here, the turkey tail, it actually tastes really good. It tastes of maybe apricot or peach, oddly enough, for a mushroom. Kind of mind-blowing. I'll take this out for a minute because I want to put some honey in it. Yeah, this, the properties of the mushroom. Check this out. It is sponge-like. All right, see that? Crazy. Right? It's a trip. It's bland. And a little bit, I don't know, maybe a little bit spicy in a way. Like radish spicy. It's not unpleasant. The cup's pretty dirty, but yeah, that's it. Birch Polypore, Fomitopsis, Betulina. Oh, wow.